Chair Gensler, nearly 3 years ago, the Commission proposed a rule to require the public disclosure of relatively small security-based swap positions, Rule 10b-1. It met significant bipartisan opposition both within this committee and on the Agriculture Committee because of the significant potential for market disruption, undermining of shareholder rights and corporate accountability, and encouragement of dangerous practices like copycatting and herding that the Commission itself has warned about. Given the lack of statutory authority to proceed with such a proposal, its near certainty of being overturned in the courts, and the vast bipartisan opposition, are you willing to confirm, yes or no, that you do not intend to proceed with this harmful proposal that would waste Commission resources and undermine its future authority?
Still considering comments. We do have statutory authority under Dodd-Frank, but there was a lot of, you're right, a lot of comments that said maybe the Commission could collect the information but not make it public. But we're still
So at this time, you're still willing to proceed forward?
We're still considering comments. I'm not prejudging where I would come out or where my fellow commissioners would come out.
Commissioner Peirce?
We heard a lot of feedback, which didn't surprise me because when we went out, we didn't have the data we needed to go out with that rule. We'll see how the Commission decides to move forward, but I continue to have real concerns about the effect it could have on the market.
Chair Gensler, looking back on your tenure at the SEC, your approach has focused more on quantity than on quality. I think one prime example of my point is that your track record in the courts. I also assume if I asked you about your track record and its impact on the agency, both legally and regarding staff morale, I would get a 5-minute robust defense of your rulemaking decisions. However, I'm reminded of your quote that, quote, "Figures don't lie, but liars sure can figure." And the figures show that the court believes you have overstepped your authority time and again. So let me ask Commissioners Peirce and Ueda their opinions regarding the impact on the agency and staff morale for the courts to consistently rule against the chairman and his hubris.
It certainly isn't good for our agency to be told by courts that we've overstepped the legal authority, and I think it tells us that we need to be more careful because, as you suggest, staff have put a lot of work in on rulemakings that have then gotten thrown out because we didn't have the statutory authority to do them.
These losses to the agency are devastating. I've been with the agency since 2006. In the late 2000s, we lost a series of challenges in court to the Commission's rulemaking. After that, the mantra became never again. We need to be the gold standard in administrative rulemaking. And for a number of years, that is what we pursued, the gold standard in rulemaking. Unfortunately, we've regressed. It is now do what you need to do, that is the minimum required by law. That's why we're doing 30-day comment periods, not because it makes sense to have 60 days, which is what has been ingrained in me that entire 18 years, is you start at 60 days minimum for a comment period. Well, 30 is the minimum days required by law. All of the other steps, let's get it out fast. Let's cut corners where we need to, because that is what is the minimum required by law. But that's like saying a D grade is a passing grade in school.
So in your opinion, the SEC under Chair Gensler is no longer the gold standard?
I've served with 6 chairmen. Unfortunately, our condition today in rulemaking, I would say, is below the average.
I want to follow up on a question from Mr. Sherman earlier, who expressed his concern with Webull and the concerns of having trading apps with Americans' financial data stored in China. I've written 2 letters to Secretary Yellen on Webull and Mumu on this and the concerns given that Chinese companies are required by Chinese law to share data with the Chinese government, the Chinese Communist Party. So following up on Mr. Sherman's points, how can you ensure these companies are following the law? And how can you be confident the information is not available, given that Chinese companies are required by Chinese law to share data with the Chinese government? Commissioner Peirce and Commissioner Ueda.
I mean, I think that the concern that you raise is a legitimate concern. We want to make sure that brokerage customers' information is protected, and it's something that I'm certainly happy to work with you on.
I agree, that is a concern that we have, and with protecting customer information.